And we're back. This is Cabin Conversations, a regular podcast. Well, it hasn't even been that regular. So
I think we're doing real good this fall, and then
I think we were on perfect.
Yeah,
we were rolling perfect, and then we missed three in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome. I'm Dave. Here with co-host Whitney.
Hi,
Whitney.
Hi.
So and a guest this week in Keelea. Hey, Keelea.
Hi.
Glad to have you on again.
Glad to be here.
You were on the first episode, and this is like our first episode of The Return.
Yeah, this
too.
is part 2 of season 5.
Part 2 of season 5.
Part 2 of season 5. I'll say it more.
And I'm guessing we'll probably take 2 weeks off around Christmas time as well.
Sure.
And it might end up being 3. Who knows?
I think, yeah. So here's what I do know is that Sophie's school break is like 2 days short of being 2 full weeks off. And
wow.
And so we were looking at the calendar, and I was like, kid, what do you think those 2 days are going to be like? And she's like, parties, watching movies. It's like, are you okay missing those? And if you have any tests, you have to take them on Friday. So we're going to take the full 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
I'm doing that too.
We're doing it.
My kids they do have the full 2 weeks.
She doesn't, but we're going to make it.
I'm taking the time too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be awesome.
I did as well.
Wait.
I did as well. I was like, no, July was off school too. So I was like, we're just going to do stuff.
Yay. That's so good.
It's good.
It's so good.
Good parenting.
I feel like for a long time, Christmas vacation for students felt like it was getting shorter.
It was
like a week.
And I was like, what are you
happening?
doing? But I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that is not the case.
Winter break.
That makes me happy.
It's a
for
good.
that.
Remember in college when you'd get like a month off
Oh,
or
yeah,
something?
J-term.
Yeah.
And it was almost too long.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to go back and be with my people.
Yeah.
So
once school started to go back. So I have a distinct memory. My junior year, one of my teachers was on the calendar committee, and she's like, would you rather get out early next year, 2 days early, or have a full 2-week Christmas vacation? And I was going to be a senior next year. Seniors got out early, no matter. It didn't matter what time everybody else got out. And I was like, isn't that a fair question to ask me? But I will give you my answer anyway. I would like 2 weeks. So I feel like we had 2 weeks at some point. So that was back in 2004, my graduating year.
Yeah.
So in college, when people would start going back, an extra week was great. And then like 2 more weeks, you're like, yeah, I need people again. Where's everybody?
I need the rhythm of what it is.
Again.
And the startup process in January.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll have a part 3 starting in January.
Yeah, because we'll take 2 weeks off.
And then we're in Acts for 10 weeks there leading up to Easter. And we'll go through Easter and stuff like that. So we'll be around. Maybe we'll have 4 parts to maybe we'll take.
Stay tuned. Maybe more.
Yeah.
No, hopefully not.
Cabin Conversation, season 5. So, Whitney, we were off for the next
mostly
period
because
of
of me.
You were far away.
I was in London.
Though I think the first week was me for some reason.
The first week was you. You had school. That was a crushing week of school for you.
School. Yeah, school week.
And then I left for London and then came back on Monday night.
What are you laughing about?
I love hearing that you had a crush. Like I love that, and I love that that's not my reality anymore. That's it. That's what I'm laughing at. Not that you were like suffering through school that week.
Not that you were crushed, Dave.
But I'm laughing at the reality of like I feel like that has been my life for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So to hear you say that about Dave and be like, that is not my reality anymore.
Celebrate.
Somebody else. So delightful.
Celebrate.
Anyway.
So.
Yeah.
And then you went to London.
And then I went to London, and I came back Monday night at like 9 p.m. We were home. But the time change would have made that 23 hours by the time from when I got up to when I went back to bed that day. And so I remember looking at the calendar, and I hadn't cleared Tuesday. I had only cleared what the dates of the trip were.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't.
No.
I can't. Sorry, guys. We're not doing that.
Yeah, John was scheduled.
Yeah.
And I looked at the calendar. I remember I looked on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm like, Whitney hasn't declined.
Yeah, what is going on?
So, but I held it loosely.
Yes.
So I was not surprised when you said
Tuesday morning. I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm up, at 3 a.m., but I'm not going to be up at 2 p.m. We're not doing that.
That part.
That worked out well.
That's it. Yeah.
So since we've left, we've ended that 7-week series.
John Payne was here to end Jesus Says. It was the Good Shepherd.
Yeah. In John 15, not John 15, John 10. So, and then we've started, this last Sunday was week 3 of our 5-week relationship series, Known and Unashamed. And I was just talking to John. Whitney, you'll appreciate this. He was like, he said, appreciated how you've made naked and unashamed kind of the unofficial tagline of the sermon, because I've referenced 225 every single Sunday. But I really appreciated that we titled it Known and Unashamed. So originally, dear listeners, we were trying to get the title the biblical phrase
of naked and unashamed.
And some people didn't think that was the best sermon series title.
Which were wise people, because at this, I think, so I have missed weeks 1 and 2 because I was in London and had 2 different church services to go to both of those Sundays. But you had a recap, just even walking on the stage this Sunday, saying just sitting in those 2 words that mean so much has been, like, that's something that you can just dwell on for a long time. What does it mean to be known by God and unashamed by God in the relationships that you have here? If that's a spouse, if that's in the family, if that's just relationships with people, what a beautiful vision. And we are so far from living that way. I'm so far from living that way. So to start identifying some of the places where I'm hiding or feeling ashamed and bringing it out into the light. You can sit in this one for decades, maybe for the rest of your life. And
it's been really, really, really valuable. So
right call on the removing naked.
Keelea, could I? Keelea's agreeing.
I'm going, yeah, that's, I don't know who made that decision, but good call.
Keelea, I'm going to throw you a question that we didn't prep or anything like that. But as an unmarried person, how has this series been for you?
I feel like this has been really good. I feel like even as a single person, you're in a family. I feel like especially this week and even last week to some level, I feel like just thinking about we've been talking about sin in our own lives, how that then translates to other people, all of that. I think that's applicable regardless of who you are, regardless of the relationships around you. Like, I think it's been very applicable. I also feel like I've heard from a variety of people, and I would agree it feels timely. Like this series is coming at a good time for a lot of people. And I especially think about ahead of holiday season, how powerful this week's sermon really was, I think, for a lot of people as they think about gathering around Thanksgiving tables and, planning Christmases, and maybe their in-laws are not great, or their own relationship with their own parents isn't great, or they don't go to extended family, or like whatever it is. And getting to kind of process that through the lens of what this week's sermon was, and just even what the service was this week, I feel like just really, really timely. And good.
I think the service, even having child dedication, so that's where families will also invite extended family to come and be a part of the child dedication service to then hear about. I was like, ooh, I don't know how that's going to hit. But what a seed to be planted now, and what a reminder for us to be praying for people that are going to enter into conversations at Thanksgiving time with somebody that might have heard something about how you were formed and what that looks like when it squeaks out sideways because you're hiding or you're ashamed in whatever sin pattern you've been handed down.
The schedule of service elements was independent of this series, but having communion last week, following up on the notion of sin, and then child dedication this week, and next week baptisms, this coming Sunday baptisms, is just so beautiful in how it integrates. What's
the topic this coming week? You shared with me already.
Festering wounds. Yeah. Doesn't that sound like fun? It has. I mean, week one, the goal and the vision was the beauty of relationships. And it was to cast this vision of how good relationships that God created for us are. And I know some of the feedback that came in was someone saying, I love that vision, but that didn't speak at all to my reality. Like, I felt so outside of what I was hearing. Aren't you going to talk about how hard it is?
You're like, well, now we're going to spend a while talking about it.
It's going to get hard.
Yes.
So,
and what a good reflection on the fact that our hearts long for that picture because we were made to long for that picture, and that picture is coming again. How good that should be is coming again, and there's hope in that. But in that in between, right? that tension that we feel of like, that was great, but it's also really messy and really hard. And I don't really like it all that much right now. Yeah, that's everything in between Genesis 1 and Revelation 20. You know what I mean? Like that is what that's what you're feeling.
Well, and I was just able to sit with someone who, I mean, she was saying that it's like that vision for marriage, it's not what I have. And what do I do in that? And for me, that's been the heartbeat of this sermon series. Because I've sat with so many couples who are like, we're done. It's been 5 years. It's been really hard for 5 years and we're done. And my heartbeat in that is always, excuse me, why didn't we talk 5 years ago? Why is it now just when things are done that we're sitting down? And I think it's because we so often have too low a view of marriage. And when marriage is hard or when relationships are hard, we're like, this is just what it is. Yeah. And then we slog through that until we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so to cast a vision of relationships are supposed to be beautiful, and if they're not, let's work on them. Let's ruin it. Let's not just accept it as hard, but let's work on it.
Yeah. And also putting our finger on the knee-jerk reaction of the human is to hide and be ashamed of it and to not bring anything out into the light.
And to deflect.
Right? Yeah. So I think the casting the beautiful vision of what relationship is intended to be, and also highlighting at the same breath that our knee-jerk reaction, our human tendency is to hide, deflect, and not talk about it, keep it in the dark. Yep. And so if we can keep that heartbeat and that drumbeat going, you might have marriages that are coming maybe 1 year in and realizing, like not at year 5, but when it starts to get hard, you're going to be like, no, this is a real thing and a normal thing, and we need to stop doing the knee-jerk reaction and do the thing that is going to heal this, or take steps towards the thing that could heal it, which is bringing things out into the light and talking with people that are trained to do so.
And not just trained, but having a curriculum that helps facilitate through any of that is super important. So Reengage is a wonderful opportunity. But one of the interesting things along what you were just saying, Whitney, that we've learned over the years in Reengage is that it's a bad curriculum to do in a small group. Because you're often in those circumstances where you know someone, but they've for so long have been hiding something that they don't bring it out when the opportunities are. And the most effective Reengage groups that we've had have been groups of strangers that for the first 4 weeks are like, I don't know you guys at all. And then the next 4 weeks, they're like, I kind of trust you guys. And then someone spills something and everything comes out. And
it's how many weeks altogether? 15.
Yeah. So you get about halfway through, there starts to be a fair amount of transparency. And it doesn't always happen in every group, but just that notion that our knee-jerk tendency is to hide. There are so many people who have community where they're not known and they are unashamed. And it's so hard to break that cycle in that community.
Yeah.
So.
I even think about, we're talking a lot about the context of marriage, but I do think you've done a great job, Dave, of setting this up that doesn't have to be the case. So you have not isolated really like our, because when we say single, we don't always think of like a person like me, right? Like sometimes it's the widower, like who did have a good marriage, but their partner is gone now, right? And they are walking this now by themselves. Or somebody who has been through a divorce and did not remarry, or whatever the circumstances are. So there's lots of reasons somebody might be single. And I think you've done a great job of not leaving them out, but bringing them along with, without calling that out necessarily even. But I even think about for myself, even as a leader, leading a team of people, very diverse, very dynamic, very different ages and personalities, like I think a lot of this has carryover even in team culture. So like even just as hearing you say this about Reengage and like the spill, so that'll happen sometimes in a team meeting where one person will just be vulnerable and transparent and honest about where they're at with something. And I just watch the dominoes just kind of fall. And everyone like sort of, you can just almost see them be like, oh, I can be transparent and honest too about where I'm at in things or what's going on for me. And I think there's something really beautiful about what happens in that space because then you realize you're not alone Because I think the enemy really loves to make us think we're all alone and we are the only one that thinks that. We are the only one that feels that. No one else is dealing with that. And you are an anomaly to that. And so it's best that you keep that to yourself. And that is such a lie. That's not, it's just not true. Yeah. That there are lots of other people dealing with the same issues you are dealing with, you know, and when we don't share them, it's really hard to figure that out. And it can feel like the perception can feel like, well, all these people have it all together. When in reality, like, that's not true. That is not true.
There's people who are in it, but there's also people who have gone through it.
Gone on the other side of that. Yeah. And if you don't ask or you don't talk about it, and they're like, I was dealing with that, and now I am not. And there is hope in not.
And that's so much hope. They might not be able to tell you how to deal with your stuff.
No.
But they've been in it.
So they can empathize with you for that. And you can look ahead and say, it's not going to be like this forever. This is a season that I am in, but it won't last forever. My goodness, going through that stuff in that moment to think, this doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be like this for all time. I mean, how much in those spaces do you just need that little glimmer to pull you through in some of those things? Which is why Reengage is really powerful, because you do have these mentors in marriages sitting with them to say, hey, we've been married 40 years. Yeah, at year 5, yep, it was hard. And at year 10, yep, it was still hard, you know. Like, but we learned things about each other, and here's how we navigated that. And it's not going to be a recipe for you to follow exactly, but it should give you hope that there's good
also
things.
The beauty of a multi-generational church.
Amen.
Like, I keep thinking about, who's John's friend that came? Miller?
Bruce
Miller highlighted, and it has not. So he came to MLT and did a talk about relationships, essentially, and then did the same thing for leadership gathering. But one of the lines that he shared there was the emphasis in the New Testament from the nuclear family to the family of God, to brothers and sisters, and thinking about. So Dave, you even started this with to be known, fully known, and unashamed in your marriage, in your family, and in interpersonal relationships. And if you say marriage is one thing, but family also is a nuclear family, but I'm also part of a church family. I'm part of the family of God. Yeah. And everybody's got interpersonal relationships. Yeah. So what that brings to us is all these people that have such a diverse, dynamic stories that they have walked through or have hope in or don't have hope in yet and need the hope that you have. Like, are you bringing up the verse that we need right now?
What?
Are you going there? No, I thought you were going to bring up
Matthew 22. But
okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay, I thought you were going to go to 1 Corinthians 12. But anyway, just the beauty of having a body, a whole bunch of different members that are helping build each other up in love. But you need to fight the hide and deflect mentality, right?
And you need to fight that not just in your households, not just in your nuclear family, not just in your marriages, but also in the context of, like, almost more so in the context of community. Like you do have to fight that even more so, because it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna, if I share this really messy thing, is that gonna push you away? Yeah. Is that gonna scare you off? Like, are you not gonna want to be in community with me anymore when I share this big thing in a small group setting? Like, whatever that is. So you really do have to, like, kind of work through that a little more, almost.
Because the reality is that can happen.
That can happen.
And it does happen.
And that's where the known and unashamed quickly turns into, like, now I'm known about this thing, but now I'm feeling ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashamed, it's our responsibility, too, as receivers of whatever.
Yes.
In terms of doing that rightly, receiving that information and being empathetic and caring and loving and gracious. And that's a hard thing to do, especially when it's surprising.
Right. But also, even if we don't carry it well, because I'm going to try, but I probably won't do it well all the time. I think what you can constantly go back to is, like, hey, let's sit in Psalm 139 and recognize that you are fully known by God and He loves you so deeply, right? Yeah. That I might not carry that well, but point people back to the hope that lasts.
I even think about, so I got the opportunity to sit with you in a premarital counseling, and you were sharing this, like, tool for like receiving information that your spouse shares with you. You're going to be able to tell this way better than I ever will. But I even think about that. Like that's where my sharing withholdings.
Yeah.
That's where my brain goes, because it was like it was like a kind of a step-by-step of how you receive something like that. And it was like thanking them. Like it starts with thanking them. Like it's just like, thank you for sharing that with me. Or like, thank you for having transparency with me. Like, thank you for telling me. And then like giving yourself kind of some space or whatever. And then coming back. I don't remember the whole step-by-step, but like I was like, that's applicable in a marriage, but that's applicable in a lot of spaces when you're receiving.
Yeah. Can you educate the rest of us?
Could you tell the real thing? Because I don't remember what it is, but it was so good. It was so good.
It's a pre-conflict avoidant tool. So it helps to avoid that. And the notion is that there's always things, I'll use marriage as an example, that we withhold for like good and bad. The example that's always used is, I might be walking into a funeral with my wife and like I'm walking behind her and I'm like, wow, she looks really good. I'm not going to go up to her, in that context and say, yow, but there's also negative things, like unloaded the dishwasher in a way that I didn't like or something like that. And I'm like, I'm just not going to bring it up. But it kind of gets stuck in your heart. And so the idea of sharing withholdings is you both identify 3 things that you have withheld, 2 positive and 1 negative. And you sit across from each other and you alternate going back and forth. So I would say, Heath, this. And all she can do is listen. And when I get done, she says, thank you for sharing that. And then she shares with me, thank you for sharing that. We go back and forth, 6 of them. And then we walk away and we're not allowed to talk about it for 30 minutes. Oh. So you can't address it. So you just, whatever got stirred up gets to settle a little bit. And then you get to talk about it. But it's this idea to be, because I think there's the side of me that needs to share transparently about where I am, but there's also the side of me that needs to hear transparently about where she is. And that's Adam and Eve were together and they were known and unashamed. It wasn't just one of them was fully known.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a really helpful tool that I've committed to a lot of different couples.
I feel like it was a really helpful tool. And I feel like I was like, man, these premarital couples that are going through this with Dave are going to get this great tool. But I was like, man, that 5-year marriage, they really need this tool. That pre-conflict avoidance, that ability to transparently share and be received. In that, I was like, wow, I was listening to you when you were sharing it with that couple, and I was like, man, we should write this. Everyone needs that. How do we get that to everybody?
That's a meaning of marriage. So if you do come to the meaning of marriage class, come to that class. It's only 5 weeks. It's not 15 weeks.
Yeah, come to it. Go to it.
And then I'll send you to reengage afterwards.
Yeah, go to that too. But I think it's just like, I just think about those kinds of tools, practically. We're talking about these things and they're really good, but practically, when the rubber meets the road, how does it actually shake out? And I think it's things like that where it really does apply.
But that's that tool too. Like, it's neat to hear it. Think of how much intentionality it takes to actually do it.
Because you have to remember all the positives, because it's really easy to remember the negatives.
Those are all the spots of bitterness in your heart.
Part of this is like actively thinking about the great things about your spouse and verbalizing them. So like, I think as a coach, here's a tip for you, Keelea.
Thanks.
3 to 1. So 3 positives to 1 corrective.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to that ratio of you like overload the positive before you get to the negative, because what sticks in my heart about my husband is the negative. What sticks about what anybody's going to give me feedback about myself. You can give me 17 positives, but I'm going to remember the one thing that I need to work on.
Yeah, isn't that true?
But what a great tool to say, what do I actively love about my husband, and how can I share that right now? Yeah, and not to lighten the load of the negative, but to stir up in your own heart love for your spouse.
Yeah, I think there's growth in that even, and I would argue that the Spirit can use that to sanctify your own heart, to say, like, what are you looking at and what are you looking for in this other person? Yeah. Because we can fall victim and trapped to, I only see this person through this lens. And I'm not just saying in marriages, I'm saying in general, we can
about
start
my teenager. This could be a fantastic tool with my teenager.
I start to
This would be a fantastic tool for teenagers to use with each other.
Right.
everyone should use this tool. I'm telling you, I think
everybody.
it's so good. But I think just like you can start to view a person through a lens and a narrative that you have of them, and everything they do feeds that narrative that you have. But if you start to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on a different narrative and I'm going to try to look for these other things, all of a sudden you're actually seeing different things.
Well, and even to invite the Spirit into that. So it's not something you need to drum up on your own.
No.
I have a distinct memory of, I don't remember when this happened in our marriage, but there was like, the only thing I could fixate on was all the things that Brian was doing wrong, which I had a list and I just kept replaying him in my mind. And I remember at one point saying, God, just show me what is lovely about him because I can't figure it out right now.
Yeah.
And with a sincere prayer like that, it like my mind switched.
Wow.
Like I went from being super distant and like, I don't want
to be in the same room as you.
There's so many things wrong with even the way you just walked in the room, right? It was getting bad. Where to like, I just get to see the beautiful parts of who Brian is. And God, it still uses those for me to be able to look at him and be like, that is beautiful. Yeah, it might be irritating, but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So the Spirit this is the design is to know one another and see the lovely in one another. So when you pray something like that, I have experienced the Spirit saying, here we go. I'll show you.
I'll give you eyes to see this person like I see them.
Wow. Good old Matthew West song. Give me your eyes so I can.
I thought you were going to really go with it. I thought you were going
to.
Okay, never mind.
But that song.
Just 1 second. Give me your eyes so I can see.
Yeah, it's a beautiful picture.
It is.
It really is what we should be praying consistently in our close relationships and in all of our relationships.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to see people through God's eyes when they're more distant from you, the closer you get. And that's, I've just been, so many of my prayers these past weeks have been, God, thank you that I am fully known by you and I can be unashamed. Like you know every spot of blemish and hurt and pain and sin and everything, you know. And yet I don't need to feel shame before you because of what you did through Jesus. And so how different where we end up in the people we know the best, sometimes we have the hardest time seeing as beautiful. So
because distance, that space, they can't hurt you as much. Like their actions, their sin does not carry direct impact in your life. And I think about this week's sermon on, just that generational sin, which does carry direct impact in your life. And it does hurt you. Which just takes a lot more intentionality of forgiveness, reconciliation, the idea that God can redeem that, use those things, like all of that is very different when you're in a closer knit relationship with somebody, than a stranger further away.
Put your finger specifically on what happens within a family and how that forms just the way you show up in the world. We're walking through Genesis, so we're 4 through 26 is all just this spiral of formation.
We're about to see this family
how you
generationally unfolding. Yeah,
and I think the thing that I was waiting for you to say, and you got there eventually, Dave, but it was like, where's the hope here? It felt like you walk through Genesis, and you're like, if you're looking specifically through the lens of formation in a relationship, there's very little hope. And sitting and looking at people around me and knowing some of the stories and being like, where's the hope here? There's the invitation to be known and unashamed, the invitation to walk in freedom because Christ knows everything and has paid for it all and invites you, has made a way, is showing us what it looks like to be in a relationship with one another. There's hope there. Yeah. There's a Spirit of God that has been given to us to empower us and to help us walk in freedom, not bondage. And what you're talking about this Sunday was bondage.
Yeah.
So you got there, but I do have in my notes, where's the hope here, Dave?
Let's go.
Can we find the hope?
Let's go.
Can we please get there? To think through some of the questions, what's formed me and how am I responding? Those are some great questions to think through before you get to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Christmas season.
Or Christmas or whatever it is.
Whatever it looks like. When people start to gather together, particularly within your family line.
Of origin, yeah.
And to go there not with like bitterness and being mad about what's been passed down to you, but compassion for other broken people. Be a heart posture to work for.
I think
towards.
In Reengage, there's a 3-week series on peacemaking, and the 3 parts of peacemaking. And John might mention this on Sunday. I'm not sure, but it's forgiveness, making amends, and reconciliation. And I think it's so helpful that they break out forgiveness from those. Forgiveness is a vertical action. It's our interaction with God towards another.
Yes.
And so I forgive them before God, regardless of what they do. And then if I've been wounded, they need to make amends before there can be reconciliation. But I would guess for a lot of us in our family circumstances, as we've processed this, we need to process through what does it look like to forgive our mom? What does it look like to forgive our dad? What does it look like to forgive our siblings? Regardless if they move towards us to make amends, like there might not be reconciliation in there. We are not called to be reconciled to all people. Christ reconciles.
Wow.
But
Dave,
we are
that
called
statement,
to forgive.
I think is really powerful to people is that you cannot make them make amends with you.
No.
You can't. That's not your role. That's not you can pray that God would move in their life, and you can pray that God would move them towards action, but you cannot make them do that. The thing you have choice over, the thing you can do is the forgiveness piece. And that is lack of that will impact your relationship vertically. It will impact your relationship with God. Even if you don't see it right away, it's going to impact your relationship in like the ability to come and gather, be in community. Like even if it has nothing to do with this community, you will find that it will impact your ability to come to the Sunday service or whatever. Like, and it will start to breed other things in your life. And that's the part you have to play in that. I hope John talks about that. That was great.
Yeah, take Reengage, everyone. It's good stuff.
Engage everyone. So, another line that you had is careful don't make the relational enemy the other person.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's a tendency.
Yeah.
And that line can stand on its own, right? Like,
yes.
Just remember, go back to Ephesians 6. Our enemy is not flesh and blood that we stand before. It's principalities, powers, authorities.
Yeah. You were very clear about that. I felt like you were like, your enemy, like the enemy to this is not, it's not your spouse.
Yeah.
It's not this coworker.
It's not.
And I will tell you, I had a conversation, I won't say with who, but I had a conversation with a person in the foyer after who said, I was tracking, he was talking, and then he said, your enemy is not, like, it's not the coworker. And this person said, I instantly felt convicted by the Holy Spirit because I got some stuff I got to work through there. And why do you have to go there? He could have just left it at these other things. And I was like, but that's not the point, right? Like, that's not to leave it at these other things. The reality is, like, this does impact your relationships. And we are talking about a relationship series. Are we more focused on the marriage or the household or parenting? Yeah. Yes, of course. But do these things hold merit in your life? Yeah, they do.
Do you have a relationship with anybody?
Right.
Sure enough.
Sure enough. It applies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has been a timely series. And I'm glad we fit it in. You know, I hate saying it like that, but that's kind of how it felt. But yeah, it's very appropriate. And there'll never not be a time that our relationship series wouldn't be timely, really.
No.
I wondered that. Like when you said it feels timely, my initial thought was, is there ever not a good time?
Ever not a good time.
How to
obviously,
be in a relationship with God and with one another.
Yeah. And I think just based on conversations I'm having with people, it feels like maybe overdue in some way.
Yeah.
Or like maybe needs, I don't know more. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not sure, but it just feels like people are like, my goodness, it almost feels like rain in a drought to some people's souls right now. Just desperately needed these words spoken over them.
Yeah.
Which is powerful.
As the guy that's prepared the last 3 messages, is there something particular that's striking you or that you'll carry? Because you don't do the next 2 messages.
I don't. Yeah, John has the last 2. So, I mean, this is kind of, I don't want to say bread and butter content for me, but a lot of this has come out of the meaning of marriage class and different classes that I teach.
You have engaged deeply into marriages in this church in a really profound and helpful and like beautiful way. So we're the whole church is now getting to experience what you've been able to do in pockets. But thank you for bringing that. And that's been felt, at least in the one that I listened to.
Well, Genesis 2 and 3, I think, are just the most profound chapters in regards to relationships. And I think we often read them without looking through those lenses. Yeah. But the depth of it there is, but it is just the known and unashamed concept that's what we're created for. It is not good for man to be alone because we are created in God's image. And going back to something I said on week 1 and reiterated on week 2, Adam didn't need Eve to be loved. Adam needed Eve to love. And so I think that the more we keep that flipped script of relationships in our mindset, that we don't need to be recipients of these things. We receive enough love from God. We need to be givers of, those communicable attributes of God, or God's faithfulness, God's mercy, all of these things we need to be pouring out for others. And we deprive ourselves of that when we don't have people around us that we can, we don't have someone we can be faithful to, then we can't live out God's image. And the only way to be faithful to people sometimes is for them to be unfaithful to you. So shoot, there's a Hosea Gomer situation there, but the way Hosea was living out God's image and God's command was by pursuing his unfaithful wife. And so that I do think, though, that's where the fulfillment in relationships comes. It's when we are moving towards the other party in image of God. Yeah. In Imago Dei. So, yeah.
How about you? You've been a part of all three. Is there something that's rattling that will continue to press in?
No, I think just the continual reminder of that beautiful picture, and there is hope. It was last week. Honestly, the weeks start to blur together for me a little bit, but I think it was last week. Was it last week that you talked about 1 Corinthians 13? Which was it last week?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, maybe it was the week.
The first week or the last week or whatever. But even so, when we had launched Next Gen, I had shared with the kids leaders 1 Corinthians 13 and reminded them that is a church, like it is in the context of the body. We use it in marriage, and it's great in marriage, but it's also really just about how we love one another inside the church and how we live out that. And I think we can lose sight of that really quickly, that we are called to be hope bringers. We are called to be light. We are called to be patient, and the Spirit empowers us to do that and to live that out. But it does come out of relationship with God. It is going to be really hard to view your spouse or anyone else in the way that God views them if you are not spending time in God's Word. It is going to be really hard to be really patient when you don't want to be, if you are not spending time in the Spirit doing battle with your flesh. Like it's just going to be really hard. It is going to feel like you are climbing up this giant mountain, and it will feel hopeless. Yeah. It really will. Even if you are somebody who would say, yeah, I'm a Christ follower, but I don't really have time to do that, or I don't really, I can't really engage in that. I just think you're going to feel like you're fighting a losing battle is what it's going to feel like. And it doesn't have to feel like that. At least I hope that it doesn't have to feel like that. I think just even you just saying Genesis 2 and 3, how we read that, not always through the lens of relationship, but it's just these powerful things if we just sat in the observations of that. And I think about that and I'm like, how often are we doing that? Are we just, they were like, no, I hear kids say it all the time. We're back in Genesis. We read that already. We did that. They tell me that all the time. But it's that reality of like, am I sitting in it and recognizing that it was not good? And that I'm made to love someone else. I'm made to love other people. And in doing that, I am imaging God. to the world around me. I don't know that we sit in that all the time, very often. And I think it should and does shape our outlook on life. So those are my takeaways probably right now, but I'm excited for the next 2 weeks. I'm excited for festering wounds. I think that sounds just like
what's
gross.
It wrapped up as? What's number 5?
I forget what the title is, but it's a positive thing.
It's going ending on a good note.
There's bookends here, people.
It goes back to like the beauty of relationship.
We're coming back.
It really is the Matthew 18. Like in the life to come, there won't be marriage because that relationship will be experienced throughout the community, which is a good thing. It's not that I'll love my wife less. It's that I'll love everyone and her more.
And fully satisfied and fulfilled in Jesus,
yep.
which we don't know what that is to be yet. And even to go back to 1 Corinthians 13, that kind of love, to practice that kind of love, you need to recognize that that's the kind of love that the Father practices on us.
Amen. Yeah.
And if you don't know that, you are going to be running a battle that doesn't feel, you don't even know how to run it. You don't know what race I'm on.
Don't.
You know?
Yeah. And do you know that that's how the Father loves you?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we forget, like, that is how God loves us. Even the line you just said about to be faithful, you have to recognize what unfaithful.
Yeah.
That is God's faithfulness. We are unfaithful to him all the time. and yet he is faithful to us. That's the kind of love that like we can only hope to recognize in this world in small doses and in small miracle ways, and we can long for in the days ahead. Yeah.
Bookend. There's hope.
There's hope. There is. And you can also have great hope that we will be back next week. After our long hiatus, we will we'll have a couple in a row.
We'll be more regular.
Least. So, yeah.
More regular.
So,
are we doing a crazy question?
We're not.
Okay.
We're not. We're going to
I'm good with
we're
that.
gonna wrap
This
it
was a
up.
good conversation.
This is great. So, thanks everyone for joining us. This every single week leaving this, people have said, "Hey, what is your hope for that sermon?" And it has been that it's processed in community. I know it's about community, but it needs to be processed in community. You can't just journal about this. You need to talk about it. And so whether that's your marriage, whether that's your family, whether that's your parents, whether that's your small group, whether that's friend group, whatever, get with people and talk about this stuff. So do what we just did because this was good.
This was really good.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.